Okay, so this is gonna be kind of a long video and it's gonna be mainly about how I'm gonna break down about One Piece because I rewatched it and I came up with some theories and observations I would like to share with you guys. I know it's crazy for rewatching, but hey, you will appreciate the show even more. So hear me out. Like for example, did you guys notice that how pre-time skip of One Piece, each warlord is kind of like having an animal to its name. Gecko Moria, Boa Hancock, Dracul Me Hawk. Then you got Crocodile, Doflamingo, and for example, even Kuma. Kuma is like a bear, I assume. I think so, it is a bear, yeah, and he had those ears sticking out of his hat. Nonetheless, let's just say I even believe that Joy Boy was obviously a giant. I believe that the world before the void was a land full of titans, giants, and ogres. And the sea monsters were actually fish to them. Because if you look at it, we had some hints on giants. Note, like if you notice it, we see in like Wano, for example, you have a giant sword just lodged onto the ground in Onigashima. Even Onigashima, the main structure is the skull of a giant ogre. Roger had a giant egg on his boat. We still don't know what it was. I believe it's a weapon of mass destruction. Then you see giant fishes that are obviously sea monsters, they call them, but they're actually just normal fish for the giants. You see in Blackbeard's group, he has a giant in his crew who's even bigger than a giant. I assume it's because the giant had a size altering devil fruit. So maybe the giant ate the tall fruit and it became even more taller. Then you see in the Fishman arc, there was a giant boat that replicated Noah's ark. So it's kind of like how the Joy Boy, he was actually supposed to take the fishman to land. Then you see even a giant straw hat at Emu's place. So yeah, they had some hints about this stuff. Hell, even if you notice, you see a few giants now because, well, I think they're kind of seen as a threat because giants live very long. So they maybe know something about the Void Century. You never know, but it's just fun to think about it. Even how Charlotte Linlin, Big Mom, annihilated most of the giants from Elbaf. Did you guys even notice, like, how each Straw Hat is kinda associated with being an orphan? For example, Chopper had a blue nose, his parents left him. Frankie was a troublesome kid, his parents left him. Robin doesn't have a dad or mom either because they passed away. Um, Monkey D. Luffy, he didn't know anything about his dad and still doesn't know, and we don't know anything about his mother either. Sanchi, his dad cut off ties with him, and the only parent that loved him was his mother, passed away. Who else is there? Zoro, we don't know anything about Zoro, which is scary. Usopp, his dad left for an adventure and his mom passed away. I got more theories. I'm gonna actually put some theories out there as well later on in this video. But right now I'm just discussing and breaking down what I have noticed and observed. Did you guys notice this as well? How there are parallels in each arc. For example, how Thriller Bark and Wano is kind of linked. How they mention or refer each other. For example, we first heard about Wano in Thriller Bark regarding what's his summarized name? Ryuma. In general, Moria from Thriller Bark, Gecko Moria, and Kaido squared off. They fought in the past. Well, obviously, Moria lost his crew and the crew turned into zombies. Moria stole the corpse of Ryuma and the sword, etc., etc. But you see how it's kind of linked to each other. You'll also notice that old former crew members of Kaido's appear in Thriller Bark. Like you got Captain John, then those two dudes who were in armor, a gold and silver armor that were actually part of Rox Digibek's crew, which was the captain of Kaido. Or how we noticed that Sanji was very upset when he saw Absalom from Trilobak getting that one devil fruit that Sanji wanted very badly, which was invisibility. And now you go to Wano and you see Sanji has the power to become invisible because of Germa technology. Then look at Brook when he's introduced in the start of Thriller Bark, and look at Yamato, Kaido's daughter, or self proclaimed Odin. You see later on in Wano, these two are associated with isolation, loneliness. Like how Brook was alone all this time when his crew members passed away from some disease. But Brook had the revive fruit, so he's living as a corpse now because his body and his soul got lost, and it took a while to locate it back, so the body rotted. Now you look at Yamato from Wano, she had all those people who were good to her killed because, well, Kaido's Kaido. He wanted to teach her the hard way, to be ruthless like him. Well, also, if you notice this parallel is that these two arcs, we are introduced to Ors, the ogre. We see the first ever ogre in Thriller Bark. Despite it's a zombie, but it's still the body we see when the body was actually possessed with Luffy's soul. I mean, shadow. Then you look at Wano, you see the failed recreations of the ogre's Ors, and you also see, well, another ogre, which is mainly Kaido. You see the, the link, what I'm trying to spit out here. Then also you can look at how each arc, the fight or the main battle happened at nighttime, dark setting. Then you see the link between Ryuma, Zoro, Shisui, the sword mainly. Zoro got the sword, a new sword from Thriller Bark arc, which was called Shisui. Shisui is a national treasure for Wano, as it was Ryuma's sword, the, no, the self proclaimed god of swordsmanship. Not self proclaimed, but he was looked as. Then, then you see how in Thriller Bark, the main enemies kind of are zombies, and zombies are scary, you know? They don't have a mind of their own, and they mainly after your blood, etc., or your guts, your brains. Then you come to Wano. You get Queen, who obviously mutated people. He made them into frozen onis. They lost, so it's basically people who lost their mind and they become stronger and they start contaminating people with bite or touch. But you see the similarities again. It's crazy. We had basically two wild scientists. We had Hogback from Moria, and we had Queen from Kaido's arc. Then let's see. There's more. I made up a huge note. Also, when we're talking about this, I have a small side note I want to add. Is that did you know Captain John, who was the crew member of Roxy Quebec, he has a twin sister. I'm just gonna drop this picture for you guys to make it up yourself. Look at the similarities. Okay, back to it. It's just my theory, but hey. Zoro from this arc got new swords. From Thriller Bark, he got Shisui, and then later on in Wano, he gets Enma. But you notice that he got a major sword in these two arcs per se. Then Zoro was actually compared to Shimizuki, who was a samurai in the past, during Yamato's past basically. She saw him, she knew Shimizuki. These two were known as, Zoro was actually compared to him because of his stance and also the fact that these two were one-eyed samurai, one-eyed ronins. Then you see how in Thriller Bark arc, you had two warlords. Well, one was mainly Gecko Moria, and later on, Kuma appears. Just like that, in Wano arc, you see Kaido just being there, then comes Big Mom. So two warlords and then two emperors. The fact that it's so similar. Then you can also notice that how Sanji in Thriller Bark fought a modified enemy, Absalom, because he had skin drafted on him. He was kind of like a mutated human being with tough animal skin just drafted on him. So he was kind of like a, what do you say? He was kind of like a modified enemy. And then he fought Queen, who is a human, but a cyborg. So, well, that's kind of self modification, like Frankie. But you still notice the fact that these two are modified. What's crazy is that how Luffy became Dark Luffy in Thriller Bark, and then he became sun god Luffy in the other, which is Wano. You see the opposites, the exact opposites, which is cool. Also, the fact that Zoro was on death's door. He was so badly injured in these two arcs. One was when Kuma appeared and gave Luffy's injuries to himself, and well, Zoro was out of action for the best part of the One Piece verse, which was the Yo-ho-ho singing. And then you see how he was severely injured by Kaido in Wano. And he was also again in bandages and he was out of commission for a while till he got a temporary boost from Chopper and Dr. Miyagi. Okay, so now if we look at Sabaody and Wano, they also had some similarities, some links. Like we see the first time Rayleigh in Sabaody, and he was still like mentioned in Wano when Luffy was training in Udon. And Sabaody is the first arc where we see actual hockey. You know, when Garp hits Luffy, we never think about hockey. We always thought it was like canon, it was like funny comedy. Or Nami hitting Luffy. If we thought it was just comedy, that's why we never thought about it. But when we saw Sabaody, we see Kizaru's nephew, Sentomaru, who actually damaged Luffy, hurt him. And then we question, how is this possible? And in Wano, we see the whole hockey thing developed where Luffy masters it and he starts to improve his combat skills and does more damage to people with hockey as well. So it's kind of like a link, but not that of a serious link, but it's some like a growth and mentioning each other. And the main goal of Sabaody was Luffy, like he punched a celestial dragon because he was against, in a way, against slavery, people being auctioned off. It made him sick. And then in Wano, the main goal of Kaido was to locate his island of Onigashima to the main island where there was a fire festival happening, and he planned on having all the residents being forced into labor. So they basically slavery, work for Kaido. Those who can't will get replaced and offed. And even if you notice that before the build-up of Sabaody, we meet a fish mermaid, Kami, who worked at the cafe. And then she came, we basically got Sabaody arc. And then in Fishman Island arc, we meet her again, along with Jimbei. And then in Wano, the official exchanges happen basically. We finally get Jimbei. It's kind of like a three link, first Kami, then Kami, Jimbei, and then Jimbei. It's like a, like, I don't know how to explain. It's like a link, but not actually a serious link. Then, as I mentioned, Rayleigh, we see the whole referencing and training, how he has grown and stuff. You can also assume that these three islands were actually cut off from outside world. Sabaody was like more like a park slash, like it was like a beautiful place but with darkness, where there was auctions happening of live people and stuff. But then you see Thriller Bark, which was a moving island, so they were also cut off from the outside world. Wano was also isolated. They all complement each other. And if you notice, even Roger, now I'm saying another similarity, is if you see Roger's trips and journeys, his trips and Luffy's trips are identical. They have been to all the major parts, which was Fishman Island, Sky Island, then Luffy went to Roger's hometown. So it's all it's all linking up so much that you can actually believe the expression history repeats itself is kind of happening here. Then if you see most similarities in the end game of the past, of the old era, was a bad pirate versus a good pirate, which was Roxy Jebek and Goldie Roger. And now in the new generation, it's obviously going to be Monkey D. Luffy and Blackbeard. Marshall D. Teach, two D's fighting at each other. Now let's take a break from all the similarities and parallels. If you know, I have a theory about Emo, and I think she is a woman. Hear me out. Why I think that? Because if you see, I feel basically she's a woman with like an evolution type devil fruit. She can end universes or something like that. She has like a Thanos type devil fruit. She can remove you from existence and severely age you apparently. If you look at King Cobra, and I'm telling you, like in One Piece, the after time skip and post and pre time skip is actually a distance of 2 years. See how badly King Cobra has been aged. Did you see? Like he became old, sickly, and coughing. So it has something to do with Emu. If you think about it, um, Emu is scared of the D clan. Why? Okay, I'll tell you now. Goldie Roger was a D member, and he had a incurable disease and something, and his journey was coming to an end. Who gave it to him was Emu. Then, who knew the exact meaning of the letter D? It was mainly Whitebeard. Goldie Roger told to Whitebeard. And when you see Whitebeard for the first time in One Piece, you see he's old, okay? And yeah, obviously, because he's an old timer, no problem. But then he's on these machines and bandages and stuff. So there is something to do with the letter D that is so scary for Emu. Because apparently that's more dangerous than the One Piece. And mainly, I believe also it's because we never see any queens. If you guys notice, like in any arc where there's a princess who needs saving from Luffy, there is no queen. Why is that? Did you guys notice? Like if you go to Fishman Island now, you see Otohime, the goldfish princess. She was shot dead. Then you go to Alabasta, there was no queen mentioned. Like there was no queen at all. Then you go to Dressrosa arc. I think who was it? I think it was Scarlet. I don't remember the queen's name, but yeah, she's also offed. You notice there is no woman like a strong woman apart from Big Mom and some other Marines and all. You don't see any like a queen type woman in a role. Most of them are offed. I mean, Big Mom is her own ruler, but that's different. It's kind of strange. I always was bugged by it. Why is there no queen and king together? There is something going on. Okay, now I'm gonna mention one more thing. If you see in the like during the start of One Piece and all, Big Mom and Kaido they were just gathering troops. They were doing nothing. So I believe that Imo is not actually threatened by the One Piece. She's threatened by the D clan. And now let's just get back to a little bit of more similarities between Alabasta arc and Dressrosa arc. You guys are gonna be blown by this. They are so heavily related. Like if you see the crew members, if you go to Alabasta, there is this one agent who was working with Miss Sunday, I believe, and this guy had the devil fruit. I think it's agent number 5 or 7, one or the other. His devil fruit was where he used to basically take out a part of his body. Maybe it was like a booger, and he used to fling it at his enemies, and that booger used to explode. He could make any part of his body like explode, maybe a clipping of his nail or an eyelash, just giving an example. And his partner was Miss Sunday, or Valentine. I cannot remember. I'm so sorry about that. But she had the kilo devil fruit. Obviously, she can become heavy, like up to a bar, like maybe 90 kilos, 500 kilos, etc. And then you come to Dressrosa. You see this one subordinate of Doflamingo. His name is Gladius. Very cool design looking guy. His devil fruit is the same as the previous guy mentioned from Alabasta, where he can make his body parts also explode, but it's kind of a bit different. It's like a much more improved version of the devil fruit, more stronger. Then you even see the fat dude from the Doflamingo's crew, who actually has the ton fruit. For those who don't know, ton is more heavier than kilos, so it's like more stronger. Then you see the scenario as well. It's a beautiful kingdom, and that's being suppressed by a warlord. You know, it's like Crocodile for Alabasta, Doflamingo for Dressrosa. Oh yeah, and both of them were warlords at the time. Then you see how Luffy comes and rescues everyone, yada yada yada. Then you see the first time flying devil fruits. I'm not talking about Luffy using Gum Gum Rocket to fly and stuff. I mean, everyone can basically fly using the devil fruits. But in Alabasta, we see Pell. The dude had like a eagle devil fruit. And it was cool back then. It's the first time we seeing someone who's able to fly with the devil fruit, like properly, without flinging themselves. And then you see in Dressrosa, you got Dosyon, the dude with the airplane propeller on his face, who used to fly. It was very cool. Then you see top parameter. This is a cool one. The top officers from Alabasta and Dressrosa. In Alabasta, we had agents one, two, and three, and in Dressrosa, we had the treble dude. We had Diamante and Pica. These three officers from each arc are paramecia users, and out of that, they have two. They have one member who has a special paramecia. For example, Alabasta, it's agent number three, where he can produce substances like wax. And in Dressrosa, we see Treble, who's like a slime type paramecia user. It's very cool. It's so similar. Then you see that these arc, we are introduced to two Chads, which is in Alabasta was Bon Clay, agent number two. And then we got in Dressrosa, we got Bartholomew. And what's cool is that they both let names start with the letter B. And these two are the greatest ally of Luffy. Then what's more crazy about these two guys is that their devil fruits, both of them each, which was the shape, face swapping devil fruit, and Bartholomew's barrier devil fruit, were both in Wano's past, who helped Orochi to climb to become a shogun and all. These two devil fruits were mentioned there in Orochi's past. Those two old people had it. Why? Then in this arc, we are actually introduced to good Marines, which was Smoker from Alabasta, and Dressrosa we had Fujitora. Then even Blackbeard pirates were mentioned. For example, in Alabasta, we see um, Ace, who talked about the Blackbeard pirates, and he was after them, yada yada. And then you see in Dressrosa, Burgess was there fighting for Ace's devil fruit. Look at the link, how it's there. And then what else? We see Luffy. This is the most crazy one, guys. Luffy met one of his bros in these arcs. In Alabasta, he met Ace, and in Dressrosa, he met Sabo. And what's sad is that Ace and Luffy thought that Sabo was no longer with them, and then when they reach in Dressrosa, Ace is no longer with them. So it's kind of crazy how these three never united. Then these two kingdom rulers, which is King Riku and from Dressrosa and Cobra Nefertari from Alabasta. These two kingdom rulers are the main reason that the seven warlord system is completely abolished. How crazy is that? Did you guys notice that each emperors, how they recruit people, are kind of conflicting with other emperors? For example, Big Mom, her crew is of biological family members. Then there's Whitebeard, who is known as Pops, and father and all for other like strays or orphans. He has a crew member of anybody who can be his son. Then you see how Blackbeard has a crew members of real devil fruits, whereas Kaido has a crew members of fake devil fruit users. Then there was Shanks or Roger, who had not Roger actually, he doesn't fall under Emperor because he was the king of the pirates. But you see Shanks, his crew members have zero devil fruits. You see the the conflict. Then you see how Blackbeard he basically hires in a very grotesque, violent way. He has people fighting over the position, whereas Luffy can just hire, not hire, but take anybody in, the people that he likes. It's just like a weird thing I noticed. It's like how it's conflicting with each other. So here and there, I speak to a lot of people, through different chat rooms and people from other countries. I play games, so I speak to different people. So when I'm speaking to Japanese people and Chinese people in particular, they have one thing in common. They appreciate and actually like odd numbers, like 5, 7, and 9 being very common. Hell, even throw in 3 there because that's my favorite number as well. Because because like three is like balance, you know, left and right, and then there's the middle, then black, white, then there's gray, then it's like neutral, you know. With if you take out your hand, for example, and put the gesture of five or three, you see that the middle finger is the middle. It's like the border between left and right, evil and good. You know, it's like it like separates differences, which is cool. That's how my mindset works. Well, with even, it's everything is even and equal. There is no balance. Okay, enough of the crazy talk, but as I was saying, Chinese and Japanese people love odd numbers, and I just like three, that's my favorite number, and two for the favorite even number. So, because of this, we can think about it, it's how it has been applied in anime. Like, for example, most of the stuff in Onigashima arc, I mean, sorry, most of the stuff in Wano, in Onigashima Castle, happened in third floor. Most of the serious action, like Sanji fighting Maria and so on, you know, there was so much action going on. Then you can see that Brook, his most iconic move is called three pace hum notch slash. Okay, then you think about it. In general, other animes also use odd numbers as like the end game value. For example, if you see JoJo, Naruto, and Dragon Ball Z, JoJo 6, the last JoJo animated, how many sons of Dios appeared? 3. Then go back to JoJo 2, Stardust Crusaders, how many survivors were there out of 6? 3. How many pillar men, the major pillar men Jojo fought? 3. One also was there, but that was like a it was like a child. So he didn't really count. The major ones were the three, the equals, the pillar men, from the iconic meme and the song. Then you look at Jojo 5, where we are in Italy. 3 members of the gang died, namely Narancia, Abacchio, and well, Fugo. Not died, but left. So, like, 3 members left the main gang. Surely, yeah, Fugo does join back, but it hasn't been animated. It was just a side story of the manga, but whatever, you know. Then you see Dragon Ball Z. You need to collect 7 balls to make 3 wishes from 1 dragon. Hell, even Goku, he is from universe number 7. This we find out from Super. Or the fact that Naruto, we start where the current Hokage is actually the third Hokage in power. Then you got the legendary Sanin, which was Jiraiya, Tsunade, and Orochimaru. Then you got 3 types of ninja fighting styles, basically, which is very common. It's the classic ninjutsu, which is your shadow clone jutsus and your chakra control, basically. It's your classics. Then you got the family jutsu, which is like Sharingan, Byakugan. Then you got shadow possession technique. You got mind control jutsu. You got body transformation jutsu. These are all family related. And then thirdly is no chakra. It's basically good old beatdown, good old Tai Chi, which like Guy, Rock, and Lee. 3, actually, yeah, 3 generations. Yeah, that's cool. Then you see even Boruto. He's the 3rd generation kid. You know, everyone's basically a 3rd generation in that show. So what am I talking about is, let me just link this odd number theory to One Piece, and this is going to break your mind. Every group in One Piece has a power trio. For example, Big Mom with her top 3 generals, Kaido with his top 3 disasters, which is King, Queen, Jack. For Charlotte, Lin, it's for Big Mom basically. It's Katakuri, Smoothie, and who's the other one? Cracker. Yeah, there were 4 originally, but one got demoted, so it's 3. Then we got in Shanks's crew, it's Beckman, Yasop, and Lucky Roo. Then Whitebeard, it was Ace, Thatch, and who's the other one? Vista. Yep. For Blackbeard, it's Lafitte, Burgess, Doc Q. I can go on. Every group has a power trio. That's the main thing. Luffy is obviously Sanji, Zoro, and Jinbei. Yeah, hell, how referenced and repetitive this three number appears is, I'll tell you now, is that even Usopp once said as a lie he has three kids, the oldest is seven, and out of seven, like out of how many kids he had? He said he had 10 kids, and the oldest is still seven. So 10 minus seven, 3. I know calculations. Yeah, you're gonna see a lot of threes. That's why I'm referencing this now. Vivi was known as Miss Wednesday in Baroque's work. Baroque works, sorry about that. And what weekday does Wednesday fall in? That's right, number 3 is the third weekday. Then Zoro, he has a specific move called 3 billion worlds unfold. He has another one called 103 mercies, 3 sword serpent. Okay, yeah, he is a 3 sword style user, by the way. Then we got Kaido. His move is called 3 conqueror of the worlds Ragnarku. Miss Big Mom, 3000 league of misery. Oh yeah, Big Mom even has uh, three elements she controls, which is that hat, it's Prometheus, Napoleon, and Hera. Yeah, she controls three of this other stuff, non-being things that she gave soul to. Maybe I can be wrong for this one, but I think Luffy, Kobe, and Momonosuke can hear all things, like how Roger had that haki. The old Emperor of the Sea, which consisted of Whitebeard, Kaido, and Big Mom, who are now out of commission, well, these three were from one major pirate group, the Rocks Pirates. 3. Just keep that in mind. New members of the Emperor system all are have known each other since childhood, which is Buggy, Shanks, and Blackbeard. They all encountered each other. Then we meet this marine during the summit, which was Fujitora and this new one whose name is Ryukogyu. And guess what? He is so lazy and he prefer eating in the hands of a beautiful chick. He hasn't eaten for 3 years. Okay, take a look at the log pose. It's like a wristband with 3 separate compasses. How many weapons of mass destructions are there, you say? 3. Okay, what about the types of devil fruits? There are 3 fake types of devil fruits. Did you know that? It's obviously smile, which is either the smile correct and the smile defect. The smile correct is where a part of an animal mutates onto your body. And then smile defect is where you keep laughing, you can do nothing about it, and well, you can't swim, so you keep on smiling. And then there's the successful recreation of a devil fruit by Vegapunk, which is seen while Momonosuke ate it, which is a pink color dragon. Or how about this? Luffy is the 3rd generation of the monkey family. We have Monkey D. Garp, Monkey D. Dragon, and then Monkey D. Luffy. Throughout, we have seen 3 giants who supported like Luffy, who were friends with him, but these 3 giants were of different eras. We had Grogi and Brogy who were fighting in that island. Then we meet those 2 other giants who were protecting Enies lobby, and they too were like different. Like those guys are basically teens compared to Grogi and Brogy. And then we meet even a younger giant in Dressrosa, Hairuden or Hajruden. 3 is even linked to Zoro and Sanji. Sanji is literally the number 3rd Sanji. He's the 3rd kid. And then Zoro, a 3 sword style user. Zoro, he has Kitetsu the 3rd. Hell, how messed up is this? Sanji's would-be wife was 3-eyed. And you know one thing that's crazy, right? We have seen people with extra limbs or people with long arm, long neck, long tribe, basically the long tribes. But we have never seen anybody with an extra facial feature like eyes, nose, mouth. And here comes Pudding out of the blue with three eyes. Why? And obviously she was gonna marry Sanji. Well, kill him. Oh yeah, there are three types of hockey by the way. One's where you coat your arms, one's observation, and one's color of the Supreme King. They are, well, there are three terrains you can actually explore in the One Piece verse, which is mainlands like normal lands and stuff, underwater Fishman Islands, and Sky Islands. There are three factions in the One Piece world. It's the world government, which has like CP0. They have CP9. They got every basically anything injustice falls in world government. Then you got pirates, good or bad, and you got revolutionaries. How crazy this is, or maybe how crazy I sound, Luffy's imposter. When after time skip, they go back to Sabaody and those impersonators were there. Luffy's imposter's name was Triple Tongued Divolo. Okay, and tell me, guys, how many pirates? Well, before the abolishment or the end of the Seven Warlord system, how many pirates did the government actually acknowledged? You got seven warlords and four emperors. So, guys, seven minus four. That's right, three. Luffy infiltrated three marine bases, which was Enies Lobby during rescuing Robin. Then it was Marineford, which was to save Ace from execution. And then next one was Impel Down. I'm not saying in order, I'm just saying in how I written it down. Impel Down, where he met, what was that guy's name, the poison dude? Oh yeah, Magellan. So yeah, it's crazy. If you even wonder, every number that we see is kind of multiple of 3. For example, Luffy's first bounty was 30 mil. Then middle was mid when he was doing good, like after Big Mom Island basically, became 1.5 bill. Now it's 3 bill. So yeah, it's always been a multiple. If you see in Wano, you got 9 scabbards. 9, Akazaya 9, yes. Then, if you see CP group, the CP9, when they were rescuing Robin, we had 3 Zoans in the group: Jabra, Gaku, and Lucci. Then you go to Cake Island, we had 3 Paramecias, which was the 3 generals: Cracker, Smoothie, and Katakuri. Go to Marineford, and the top 3 Marines were Logia users, which was Kizaru, Akainu, and Aokiji. Do you guys remember when Kuma sent Luffy flying and the whole crew to their own respective places to train? Yep. Kuma sent Luffy flying and it took him 3 days and 3 nights to get to where he has to go, which was, I think, Amazon Lily, yeah. Then we see, this is a stupid one, 3 beards, which is basically pirates with the name Beard as a name, is Blackbeard, Whitebeard, and this other one in Punk Hazard, Brownbeard. These 3 are major pirates running their own crew. How about this? Luffy in Amazon Lily. Well, who was the ruler of that place before Boa Hancock? Gloriosa. And she ruled it for around 3 decades ago. So 30 years ago. 3. She became weak, and I assume she became weak because of love, I think. I'm not sure about that. And how about this? This one's cool. Pre-time skip, we had 3 D members who were pirates who were alive. And now post-time skip, it's the same thing. Pre-time skip was Luffy, Ace, and, you guessed it, Blackbeard, Marshall D. Teach. And then after time skip, it's revealed Law to be the member of D. So they kind of transferred Ace to Luffy. Ace to Law. Whew. All these trees is making me stutter. Then if you see the current 3 D members that are currently dead who are pirates, is Roxy Jebek, he's considered dead, Roger, and Ace. These are the current D member pirates who are dead. Well, you can say I think these are the only D members that we know who have passed away. You can think about Saul, but he's actually alive. Why? Because the move that Aokiji did on Saul, Jaguar D Saul, the Marine, the giant, was called, the move that Aokiji did on him was called Ice Capsule or Time Capsule. And what a time capsule is when you bury something for so long, for a set period of time, till it's time to unbox it. So he's alive, he's preserved basically. Oh, yeah, when we go to Wano Arc and see Odin's past, Roger and Whitebeard fought for 3 days and 3 nights. How about this, the theory of three, what I would like to coin this as? In the end game, in the past, we had 3D members, which was Monkey D. Garp, Rox D. Jabek, and Gold D. Roger. So now in the end game, we are obviously gonna have Monkey D. Luffy, Marshall D. Teach, and Trafalgar D. Waterlaw. And how about this? Pre time skip, Luffy had 3 ways of fighting, which was the generic base one using his Gum Gum powers. Then it was gear second, and then gear third. And now after time skip, it's gear 4.1, 4.2, and the awakening gear 5. Gear 4 of point 1 and point 2 is basically Bounce Man and Snake Man. And 5 is the awakening Joy Boy. Luffy even saved 3 major kingdoms that had an upcoming princes to become in power, which was Dressrosa, Alabasta, and the Underwater Kingdom. The 3 pirates that caused havoc in Sabaody, well, they reappear and linked and joined up in Wano. When I was mentioning earlier how they were related, this is one of them. Kid, Law, and Luffy join hands in past, in Sabaody, and now in Wano. Who's who from, well, the Tobiropo that falls under Kaido's group? Wait, Kaido has 3 types of forces. It's Tobiropo, it's the beast animal, the animal pirates, and remaining were the samurai that served Odin. Anyways, who's who from Tobiropo, the crew full of dinosaurs? Well, he lost the devil fruit, the gum gum fruit, 13 years ago. Hey, it's still a 3, 13. Oh, I'm just crazy. Shanks stole it, basically, 13 years ago. Speaking of Wano arc, how many worst gen fought against emperors in Onigashima? There were 5 worst generations: Killer, Zoro, Luffy, Law, and Kid. And they fought against Kaido and Big Mom. 5 minus 2, quickly, please. Yep, 3. What about this? They found the 3rd road poneglyph in Wano. Well, not they, but Robin. Well, as I was mentioning about Kaido having 3 factions in his group and stuff like that, it's even linked to Shanks, who has 3 scars on his eye. You got Big Mom, and what about Big Mom is that she is missing 3 race, 3 people of different race to complete her collection in her island of a diverse island. Her dream is to have an island full of all races: fishmen, tall, giant people, you got those small tontatas, you got minks. That's just an example. So she's missing 3 rays, which is one faded away. I don't know what's the one. They didn't mention it yet. Second one is Lunarian, which is king. And the third one is Giants. Well, Giants hate her, obviously, for the beef she had. Well, she created when she was a kid. And Blackbeard is the embodiment of the number 3. He has 3 missing teeth. His boat is literally a raft with 3 logs. His Jolly Roger is 3 skeletons. He has 3 pistols. He has he is gonna have 3 devil fruits in the end game, obviously, and it would make sense if he would take Marcos because self regeneration, healing. Hell, even his beard has like 3 ponytails. This guy is the number of 3. Everything about him is 3. Whitebeard, what about him is that he lost three sons that we know of. One is Ace, second is Thatch, who was Ace's bud or something like that, and the third one happened in the Paramount War when when Luffy was saving Ace from execution. Ors, Whitebeard had a kid, that ogre Ors, and that Ors actually died during battle. And now, as I'm speaking about this theory, there's one thing I actually enjoyed is that to show how isolated Wano is, they had a side theory, a theory of two. For example, when Odin built Kuri, he was 20 years old. All the events that has happened, like him dying and stuff, and the crew who was sent to the future, like Kanjuro, Kiemon, who else was there? Momonosuke. They were sent 20 years into the future. Then you get all he was a two SWAT style user. Then Kaido got two scars, one by him and one by Zoro. There's obviously a more like he taught the crew how to use two SWAT style. It's kind of cute that how they are isolated, so they have their own theory. It's cute. Or how about this? In this arc, they were isolated, right, from the world government and all. So we even see two major people who never laughed or liked to laugh in particular, and they were forced to laugh in the end. One was the daimyo or the blue afro dude who died, Shimotsuki. Um, he was a daimyo that helped the Akazaya Nines get education and money for Odin, if you remember, the major dude. Then he's the reason actually this whole Fire Fest and all happened because he altered the plan and, well, was executed. So he never laughed, and then he was forced to laugh because of that devil fruit, the fake smile. And the other one is Killer. Killer also had the smile devil fruit, and he was forced to laugh forever. Then from the Akazaya 9, we have two deaths, which is Izo and Ashura. Then, hey, we even had two major betrayals, which was Kanjuro from the Akazaya 9. He was the one leaking information. And then from the enemy side, who became good, was Denjiro, the Yakuza. So this is just some of the stuff I have mentioned and all, and because of this, I can tell you what D means now. Since it's all about numbers, A, B, C, D. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 is associated with death in Japanese culture. Because of 4, it sounds like death, shine. So that's what they do is D can mean 4. 4, like basically D is 4 and then D means death, basically. Because if you think about it, no D member is afraid to die. They rather die than not be able to fulfill their dreams. So that's what it means. Something simple and stupid, but that's what it can mean probably. And you know what, right? In the One Piece verse, we are approaching our final arc. Or maybe a collection of arcs, which will take maybe 2 or 3 years each. So because of this, I can tell you that One Piece will end on the third decade that it aired. It aired in 1999, it's gonna end in 2029. Or if the manga started in 97, it's gonna end in 2027. Why? Because think about it. We are approaching the final saga, the final arcs. So this is the best that I can make sense of. And before I walk away and end this video, how many letters are there in Oda?